It is Monday, November 18th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Jet Home Loans. And now, a guy who probably won't get a word in edgewise tonight, J.P. Shadrick.
We are back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, Monday, November 18th. The aftermath of the Detroit debacle, 52-6, the final score. We've got a busy 2 hours ahead. What's next for this Jaguars team? Well, the bye week is next. No changes as of right now. We'll keep it real, as we always do in the second hour. Fanatics fan questions. There were plenty of those today, and they're still streaming in. And we'll go around the National Football League. Let's hear from Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson both last night and today. Starting after the game in Detroit, asked immediately about his job security.
And listen, I've been around this league a long time. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, obviously. But at the same time, I still have a job to do, and that's to get ready for a good division opponent here in 2 weeks.
And then today, asked by Mark Long of the Associated Press, who told Mr. Khan it was the best roster ever?
I don't know. I'm not privy to those conversations that Shad has, or who's he talking. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Wasn't you?
No.
Okay. I mean, it gets a lot of play this time of year.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, we talk. We talk a lot. I mean, we preseason, off season. I mean, going into the season, you got high expectations, obviously, for your football team, as you should. Everybody does. Start of camp, start of the regular season, and rightfully so.
That's head coach Doug Peterson today. Full press conference at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. J.P. Shadrick with Hall of Fame left tackle Tony Boselli in studio. Pete Prisco, CBS Sports senior writer, with us down in South Florida. The Jaguars are now 2-9, guaranteed a losing record. Good afternoon, Pete.
Draft talk. It's time for draft talk.
Nope.
Boselli's, no?
No, they're not mathematically eliminated yet, Pete.
Oh, my God. You're holding on.
It's hard to argue Pete's position at this point, even for me, since right now we have the number one overall pick in the NFL draft if the season ended today. Yes. So it's hard to argue Pete's logic. But I'd like to hold out as long as I possibly can.
We got a whole off season for that, man.
I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd see the most embarrassing day in a Detroit stadium other than the knee. But we saw it on Sunday. That was worse. Yeah. It was worse. It was far worse. It was the most embarrassing loss in the history of the franchise. There was no resistance. There was no offense. There was no blocking. There was no tackling. They did not one thing well. Nothing other than kick field goals. And that's it. I mean, it was terrible. And Tony, 1995 in Detroit is now taking back seat to the 2024 Jacksonville Detroit game. You must feel good about that.
No. I would have been fine. Our expansion team having the worst loss in the history of the organization. You kind of would expect that for an expansion team. And the shocking thing yesterday, I was talking to a buddy of mine who didn't see the game, and he was asking what happened. And he said, well, how many turnovers did you guys have? I go, 0. He goes, what? You gave it 52 with no turnovers? Like, how many kick returns did they have? Or special teams? I go, 0.
None.
7 straight drives to open the game, 7 straight touchdowns. 4 of those drives, Pete, they did not have a third down on them. I mean, it was complete, utter domination. And that's the hard part. It was never – I mean, I thought the Detroit Lions were probably going to win. I mean, they were the better team. They're the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. I've been saying that for weeks. And we are not a confident team. We're not a team playing very well. We're without our starting quarterback. So, I mean, it's a tough place to go play against a hot team, well-coached, well-built, has an identity. They know who they are, and they're playing well right now. So, it was an uphill battle. But just to get, I mean, that's like a college game. That's like that's like Alabama playing
Mercer,
Troy State,
right?
Type of score. I mean, really. I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
they didn't even show up. They didn't even show up. I mean, and I thought it was. I thought it was going to be bad. I didn't think it would be that bad. I thought it would be like 38-6, but this is awful. I mean, it's just pathetic. And look, you guys know how I feel about change, and it should and it will come, I think, in the organization. But when you fire a guy in the middle of the season, does that really accomplish anything? I mean, seriously. What if let's just say they did? What is that? What is it going to make it any better? Is it going to the last 6 games of the season? Are they going to rally and win a game or two?
I think the only thing, Pete, and I'm not. I've said from the beginning, our job on this show is not to hire, fire, or anything else. So, but in general, if you look across the league, I think, Pete, you're right. It does not accomplish a lot as far as development of the team or wins or losses because it does. I mean, at this point, it matters to the guys in that room as players. You want to win because losing stinks. It matters to the coaches. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but at 2-9, I mean, let's say you win the next 6. You're probably still not going to the playoffs at 8-9. Maybe you have an outside chance. Who knows?
You're not.
Low probability.
And what from that team shows you might win. Yeah, I don't care if they.
No, I agree, Pete. I'm not.
Belichick, Don Shula morph into one. They wouldn't win one.
Well, I want to talk because there was a question today at the press conference again about play calling. We can talk about that. I want to talk about that later because we'll set that aside. Back to the question that you asked, Pete. What does it accomplish? I think the only thing it accomplishes it's the questions stop.
That's what it accomplishes.
That's the only thing it accomplishes. So that which is, as you know, of covering this league, can become an utter distraction in the locker room, in the building. Like everyone asking the same question. It gets asked every day, every week, over and over again. So the only thing you accomplish by making a change mid-year is that that question's off the board. And everyone knows. You
guys already know what I would do. You know what I would do. I would just. I mean, I've made that point on my platforms at CBS over and over again. You know what I would do. I think it needs a refresher across the board. But I'm not going to sit here and just say I'm firing him. That's not my decision. But you know what I would.
No, I know you, and I know that, Pete. But I'm not. And I'm just answering your question. I think that's the only thing it accomplishes. It doesn't. People say, well, you get a head start on finding your next coach. Well,
do you?
Not really, because the rules are set. I mean, unless you're going to go hire a guy who doesn't currently have a job. But you're still going to
go
wait.
Through the process.
You're still going to go through the process after the season.
You have to, by rule.
And so, it doesn't. I've never.
Let me ask you this, though, because I looked on their ticket thing. Don't the letters go out for money renewals? If you're going to renew, you have to let them know by the end of December if they're going to take it out of your check.
I don't know.
There's something coming up it happens every year.
There's a letter that goes out to people who currently have season tickets. It goes out in the next couple weeks, and they have to decide by December 20-something whether they're going to renew and have that money continue to be taken out of
there's a renewal process that happens around this time of year. I don't know the exact date. I don't know when.
I looked it up. It's by December. They'll get the letter, and then you have to opt out or opt in.
Right.
No, you have to opt out. If you don't opt out, you're still in. That means you're going forward. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
I mean, that timetable's out there, and if you're the owner of the team and you're looking at that, that's concerning. I mean, that's a concerning, time frame right there. Because right now, and you guys are in the city, I'm not, but I get a lot of pushback on X from the Jaguar fans. They're done. They're done, and you guys live there. I'm sure you hear it a lot more than I do.
Yes.
Every day, all day?
All the time, 24/7.
But, Pete, I think the questions stop, and I think there's always business reasons. To your point, you bring up season tickets. I don't know when we're going out with renewals. I'm not sure what that date is, and I don't know when the drop dead date is. There's a lot of different things coming up for this organization. Set aside what's happening on the field, just because with the new stadium, renovations, there's going to be, obviously in 2027, it's going to be limited capacity.
26.
Or 26, excuse me.
26 limited, 27 they're out.
27 they're out. 28 is the new stadium. Thank you, JP. And so I think there's all kinds of mechanics. I think it's going to, we'll see. I know the business side has a strong strategy and a plan of how they're going to do it. I don't know what it is in detail, but there's no doubt about that. That has to weigh, and you have to think through that, because I think the fans have spoken. At least what I see on X and what I hear in the community, the fans have spoken. Now, there's an argument too that you got to, fans are passionate, and you can't make every decision's just based on the cry of the crowd. But it's also a business that you're running, and you want people in the stadium, and you want to you want season tickets, and you want a packed house. It helps. It's important for this organization. It's important for the city. It's important for the product on the field. When it's a better product when the stadium's filled with your Jaguar fans. So those are all things that you have to look at when you're evaluating where you are as an organization. And I said it at the end of the game yesterday. I said it this morning with Dan and Jeff on 1010. Listen, I think when you go through a season like this at 2-9, and we have an owner in Shad Khan who gives every resource possible to this football organization to be successful. Whether it's signing free agents, signing long-term deals with the players that you want to build around, facilities, the way we travel is first class. I mean, it is a first-class organization from a business standpoint and the resources that are given. There's no doubt about that. And when you go through a season like that, after the expectations and the investment made in this organization this offseason, the last several off seasons, from facilities, from players, and everything else, and coaching staff, and you have a year like you do, and then it almost feels like a accumulation of a bad year coming into the bye, losing 52-6 to the Lions yesterday.
Sure. And
I think you have to evaluate everything. I think you have to look at the entire organization from a football side. And the danger is saying, well, if we just do this, everything's going to be fine. Or just do that, or whatever it is. I think you got to step back. And I know everyone's, fans are screaming and people want blood. And I get it. And I appreciate our fans. They're passionate. They love this organization. They want a winner. And trust me, we all want a winner. And we want to deliver a winner. And I think the right thing to do is that you got to step back. You have to evaluate everything. How you do things. Leadership positions. Every player development. Every aspect of it. Because something's not working correctly at 2-9. And losing the way you did. And playing the way you've played this year. And I think, obviously, just, and no one's doing this, putting our heads in the sand, and saying, okay, it'll be okay. That's not the answer.
No.
And so the answer is taking a hard look and looking and evaluating everything. And that takes time sometimes. And I know people want the immediate. And
there could be different answers that come out of that,
there
too.
There
could be, hey, maybe there is a path that they can get out of this thing.
Yeah, but guys, and I'm going to give Shad Khan credit for, like you said, Tony, facilities. That's not an excuse anymore. They got a beautiful facility. He's getting a new stadium. Give him credit for that. Give him credit for the money he spends to keep guys around. Give him credit for the money he spends to bring in all these free agents. You got to give him credit for all that. But if there's one fault that he has, it's that he's too damn loyal to his people at times. And that's part of the problem. Look, I think he's a terrific owner, and there's a perception outside who the heck wants to go be a coach in Jacksonville or a general manager. Anybody. It's a great organization to work for. It's a great owner to work for. But you got to be real about it. He's done a lot to make this team competitive and given him every available asset he can, but he's too damn loyal. He's always been too loyal. And I think that's part of the problem. And until they start wising up to that, then everything else he does is going to be minimized because he's too loyal. So, and I'm not the only guy saying that. And I know a lot of people in that organization feel that. It's time for changes. And at times you sit there and say, well, what's the common denominator? Well, there's one common denominator we know of. And Doug was asked today, who told Shad Khan he had the greatest roster?
Yeah.
I could give you an idea who told him. I mean, if I'm the general manager, I'm telling them it's the greatest roster we have. That way, if you don't win, who's ultimately responsible? The coaching staff is, not me. I gave you those players. I gave you this roster. Look how great it is. So, I mean, loyalty is good in business and sports sometimes, but sometimes it goes too far. And I think that's the one fault I have with Shad Khan.
Well, Pete, I mean, I'm not going to – I have no idea who told Shad about the roster. I really don't.
Like 2 and 2 equals 4.
Okay, Pete, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know. I mean, we all hear rumors. We all hear
We heard what Doug said. We heard his somebody. He don't know who
Doug
he talks to.
Doug says it wasn't him, so I'll take him at face value.
Doug said it wasn't him, so who else would say it?
Okay.
Who else could say it? Like what did the cameraman from down the road or something? What did the Channel 4 cameraman told him that or something? I mean, who told him that?
But Pete, I'm going to say this also. I think the only way you get better, and this is anything in life, it starts with being honest with yourself. And this is anything. So as an individual or as an organization, you have to do an honest reflection. You have to take responsibility for what you are and who you are and the results that are being produced. Because you can't fix anything until you do that. And that's what I'm saying, Pete, is like taking an honest look at who we are. Like Doug talked today. He said, that's not who we are. I disagree with that. Because you are who you reckon. You're a 2-9 football team, and you got blown out and embarrassed in Detroit. That's who we are. I know I don't like it. I love this organization. I don't like it, but you have to be honest with yourself. That's who we are right now, because you can't fix anything until you're honest. And the reality is we've had too many losing seasons here over the last 15, 20 years. And the only metric that matters in the NFL, this is a league full of analytics, and analytics have a great place. And it tells us so much about the game and individuals and players and situational football. I love it. But let me tell you the only analytic that matters, the only metric that matters, that's a W and an L at the end of the day, because that's what we're all judged by. And that's what I love about professional sports. It's one of the things people ask me, what do you miss about playing in the NFL? Miss the locker room, miss the guys, miss the paycheck. Good paycheck playing professional football.
Think? Sure.
But you know what I miss? Is the finality of it. You understood at the end of every week whether you were successful or not. I'm not saying that's my value as an individual, as a person, all that stuff. Set that aside. But at the end of the day, as a team, and then as an individual player, what I put on tape and whether we won or lost, that's the metric that matters. That's what matters to fans. That's what matters at the end of the day. That's what I'll promise you this. You know what Shad Khan cares about? He wants to win. He doesn't spend all his money to lose. And so that's what I'm saying. And Pete, I'm not disagreeing with whether he's too loyal or not or whatever. But the bottom line is, an organization, you got to be honest where you are. And right now, where we are is not in a good place.
Right now, it's the worst season in the history of the franchise based on expectations, and it's not close.
All right, we've got plenty ahead. We're off and running in a big way in this program tonight. It's going to be a heck of a 2 hours. I can feel it.
Here we go.
PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. We have plenty ahead coming up in the second hour at 5 o'clock. Fanatics fan questions. We'll go around the NFL. We are underway. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market, because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit DFHSalesEvent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's DFHSalesEvent.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
You love free. And at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Very disappointed, very angry. Today was not our day at all, no phase of the game. And we got a lot of work to do, especially we got a bye week, so everybody hopefully get fresh, come back. Divisional game when we come back, the important one, we got to win, but right now, man, the feelings are, we angry. And, but we got a bye week.
Josh Hines-Allen after the game in the locker room at Ford Field, and a Jaguars loss 52-6, the final score. Largest margin of defeat in Jaguars history, largest margin of victory in Lions history, most net yardage and first downs in Lions history in a single game, 644 yards of offense. They've been playing football now for 95 years. 91 of those in the city of Detroit. They were in Portsmouth, Ohio, the first 4 years of their existence. Total yardage, the third largest margin difference in NFL history, and the first since the late 70s, and the second most yards allowed in Jaguars history. We could go on, but we'll save you from it. You all saw it or heard it yesterday. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans, J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli here in Jacksonville, Pete Prisco down in South Florida. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. Yes, Tony. Let's get Tony's microphone on. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Pete, picking up how we finished. I mean, I think that's the first step. I mean, you gotta take an honest look of where you're at, where you are. I mean, because it's 2-9, but you also lost 6 of 7 to finish the season.
Yes. 13 out of 16, right? Since the 8-3 start?
3-14.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year ago this week they were. Isn't this when they were surging for the number 1 seed? Wasn't it? What was the day of that game?
They're 8-3. They were 8-3 going to Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals against a backup quarterback,
a year, right?
With no. And we lost a high-scoring game, I think, 34-31. Is that correct?
34-31. That was December 4th, week 13.
So you're coming up on a year where you were the number 1 seed.
Yes.
Basically, with a chance to be the number 1 seed. It's just, to me, there are a variety of reasons that this team has fallen off a cliff. The injuries have been a factor. Obviously, with the quarterback, that's always going to be a factor when he's hurt. And he was hurt at the end of last year.
Okay, injuries are always a factor in this league, Pete. Everyone has injuries.
But quarterback
is big. So you can look at the offense, where we had all 11 starters, no injuries on the defensive side that I'm aware of that any starters missed or key backups missed the game against Detroit. Am I wrong about that, JP?
No, I don't think you are. I think you're right.
Everybody was there.
So if you think,
after we were getting blown off the ball.
So the quarterback is a big deal, no doubt about that, and not having Trevor hurts. And so you can make, as you evaluate the offense, there's some understanding of why you're struggling on that side of the ball. But it wasn't like we were lighting it up when Trevor was. We were better, but we're not lighting it up when Trevor was at the quarterback. And so agree with you, that's a major, major loss. No doubt about it. Losing Christian Kirk, a loss.
Big.
We were without Tank Bigsby, but technically he's your backup running back. Okay. But if you look at the health of this team overall, take the quarterback out. Leave that aside, because you lose your quarterback, that's trouble. But this is, it's been you were fairly, on the defensive side, you were healthy. Now, guys have bumps and bruises, but guess what? This is where I have a problem. Everybody has injuries.
Which is why Doug talking the way he did today was weird.
That's what I understand.
He's giving him an out. How it's sore and tired and whatever. Okay, they go to London. That's different than what everybody else does. But give me a break. It's not like they're going to London and flying over and flying back. They're there for 8 days, 9 days or whatever. And from what I understand, you guys are staying at a luxury resort. You roll out of bed, you practice on the field right next to the place.
Is it a change of the schedule going to London for 2 games? Sure. But last year, the narrative coming out of London is how good it was for this team.
They won them both.
Because it brought them together.
Yeah.
And it was a positive.
They're talking about being physical and practice and stuff. What? Compared to the old days? Bodies are beat up now in week 11 because of the practice early in the season.
But Pete, I'm gonna take a different tactic because I don't like comparing to the old days because there's no comparison. It's a different league.
Okay,
it's a different league. But here's my problem, Pete. Are we doing anything different than anybody else?
No.
My guess is, and I don't know.
Some teams probably don't have as long a practices and hit as he does. There's some teams that still kind of condense it a little bit. His practices are kind of long.
But Pete, there's also guys who are much more physical in this league too.
Correct. He's probably in the middle.
That's my point. I'm not like
they're average.
Yeah,
they're middle of the road. Is my guess. I don't know. There's no scientific fact, but my point is, everybody's sore right now. Everybody's beat up. Everyone has injuries. That's the league.
The Lions have injuries.
They were missing one of their top offensive players.
And
Sam
Anzalone
Laporta
broke his arm.
And they were out with Hutchinson.
Right.
Let's not forget about that.
Exactly.
Their best defensive player was out.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're dealing with it.
That's my point. You can't, to me, and this is where I go back, you got to be, listen, you are who you are. We all are. As an individual, there's a set of things I'm dealing with, and guess what? I own it. I'm responsible for it. At the end of the day, I got to face it, and I got to deal with it, and I got to make decisions, and I got to figure out how to get better as an individual. That's no different than an organization. It's the same thing. I don't care if it's a family, it's an individual, a business. We're in a business right now. You got to look at it. What do we do well? What do we don't? We got to get better here. Whose fault is it? It's my fault. I own it. It's got to get better.
Here's the part of that equation that you're talking about that kind of staring them right in the face because it stared them in the face on Sunday. That Lions team was bad for a long time. And if I'm not mistaken, their rebuild started right about the same time. And look where they are right now.
Well, just to give the history there, Pete, to be accurate, because you're right, by the way. In 2021, we were both looking for head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Big head coaching search. We hired Urban Meyer. Mm-hmm. We had the first overall pick.
Correct.
They hired Dan Campbell. They had the second overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
They went on their path and journey. We went on ours. We met on the field yesterday. The result was what it was.
Met on the field in 2022 also, by the way.
One is a big, physical, tough football team on the offensive side particularly. And the quarterback has a coach who plays to his strengths and knows how to get him into the plays that need to be made. I mean, look, let's be real. When they brought Jared Goff in there, the whole idea was he might be the stopgap quarterback to somebody else they go get. And what Ben Johnson and that group and Mark Brunell have done with Jared Goff is incredible. They make it easy on him because they're physical in the run game. They can play action. They can get him outside on bootleg. And that's that offense. Okay, Jamison Williams can run.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is a good possession receiver and a guy who does a lot of good things in the middle of the field. But they're physical up front, and it goes back to what we always talk about, Tony. There's only so many big people on the planet who can play the position. They have good tackles, a great tackle at right tackle, a really good center. Zeitler looked like he was Zach Martin in his prime on Sunday, blowing guys off the ball. And Glasgow, who was terrible last week, by the way, against the Texans, actually looked good on tape this week. That's how bad the Jaguars are. But that line is good, and it's all predicated off of those five, the whole thing. Jared Goff's good because they can run it. They can run it because those guys are good. They can hit those shots down the field that take time because they can protect them. That's the reason that's a good offense.
Pete, you know how I feel. I mean, I'm a broken record. I mean, the way
if I had a nickel for every time I heard
you build
this.
it front to back on both sides, and the toughness of a team is driven by the offensive line. It's always been like that. Every team I've been on.
Provided you have the quarterback. You have to have the quarterback.
No, I'm just saying the overall toughness, the physicality
right.
of
But
it.
I mean, like if you had 5 really good offensive linemen and a crappy quarterback, you're still not winning.
I'm not saying you're winning, but you can be physical.
Right.
The quarterback would have time.
I mean, okay, but I'll give you an example. Put Mac Jones on the Lions, they ain't winning. Okay? And by the way, Tony, your whole theory before the season, maybe he plays and you can trade him you can get something
Yeah, I
for
think
him.
I was probably wrong.
Not trending the right direction
I mean,
currently.
does he even put the ball in play down the sideline? I mean, what is he doing?
He had a rough day.
Let's come back, and we'll get a little deeper into that quarterback conversation around Trevor Lawrence and his left shoulder injury and the bye week and the weeks remaining in the season. A lot to get to there. Sign up your furry friend for the Jaguars official four-legged fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/four-legged fan club and sign up today. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank. Advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
Well, I don't look at anything. I don't have social media, so I just focus on the guys in the room and lean on my family and my support staff. And I really have enjoyed the people that I've worked with this year. Coach Peterson's awesome. He's a great coach, and obviously it's not going our way right now, but he's definitely a great leader of men, and we're going to keep working and figure it out. And I think the bye week is a good opportunity to do that.
It's Mac Jones after the game in Detroit yesterday, and welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. We're at the Hyundai Studios, the Miller Electric Center. And if you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, better check out the 2024 Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech, you can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco. Well, that was Mac Jones. 2 straight weeks as a starter for the Jaguars. We go into the bye week now. Trevor Lawrence and that left shoulder injury, I'm sure, will be reevaluated, and we'll see moving ahead coming out of the bye week if he can play. If he's healthy, does he play? If he's not healthy, what do you do moving forward? A lot of questions.
Well, let's start there, and we can talk about Mac Jones in a bit. Let me just say one thing about Mac. I wish it was going better, just because he's a Jacksonville kid. Jacksonville guy. I shouldn't call him a kid. He's a man. Jacksonville guy. So you're always rooting for the hometown individual to have success, and it just has not gone well the last couple weeks. It's not all on him, obviously. It's the team not playing very well. It's too bad. As far as Trevor, we don't really even know the severity of the injury. And so I think the philosophy should be, moving forward, is you make whatever decision is best for the organization, and what's best for the organization is having a healthy Trevor Lawrence for the long run, especially going into next year. We talked about this a couple weeks ago because we don't know the severity. But if it's a severe injury where he does need surgery, even if he can play through it at this point, but he needs surgery in the offseason, I think you have to have a long conversation with Trevor, his camp, your team doctor, Dr. Kaplan. I think ownership needs to be probably involved in that.
Sure.
Obviously the coach, the GM, everybody. And you need to look at it and say, what's best for the organization? What's best for Trevor? Because those things should be aligned, number one. He's your franchise quarterback. You paid him $250 million. He is going to be here, and he's going to be taking snaps from hopefully for a long time. And at 2-9 right now, again, as a player, you got to think about winning the game and all that kind of stuff. No doubt about it. They got to be focused and fighting through it, not thinking about next year. But I think as a leadership, you need to look at the long run at the same time because of where you are right now. And you have to look at the risk of what's the risk of injuring it further? What does that mean? Anytime you step on the field, there's risk of injury. But now he has an acute injury. And
it's a pattern injury because it's the same one he had last year.
And if it's something that needs surgery,
Do it now.
Aren't we better off doing that right now so that he has a healthy offseason so that we can be ready for next year? Because what you don't want to do is fight through it, and maybe you get a couple extra wins because Trevor's your quarterback. But now it impacts all of the offseason, which impacts next season.
Yeah, into spring.
And you can't – I just don't think you can do that. And so that's
by the way, Tony, if he has surgery, that also speeds up – it speeds up the timetable for whoever does, if they do make a change, which they probably will, on what he can do with the with the new offensive minds and the new system. Because if he has surgery after the season, then he's going to be down for a while.
Yeah.
So I think in my mind, if he needs surgery, and we don't know that,
we have no idea.
But also, he didn't get surgery last year, and he had the same injury again. So maybe he does need surgery.
Pete, do you know the injury? Because I actually don't know the exact injury. I just know it's a left shoulder. I don't know if it's a labrum, an AC joint. I don't know what it is.
I think it's an AC joint. But either way, if he needs the surgery, and okay, let's just say a year ago, I'm not a doctor, but he didn't have the surgery a year ago, and he hurt it again. And so maybe surgery fixes it finally once and for all. And if that's the case, go fix it and come back. Everything's new next year. It'll all be new. He's going to probably be learning a new offense, and you'd want him healthy learning a new offense. What's the point of him playing through an injured shoulder when a team's 2-9? There's no reason for it. Zero. Other than the fact that maybe he's a competitor, and I get it from that standpoint. But I think rational minds would sit there and tell him, shut it down and have the surgery if you do need surgery. And if there's a surgery that can fix it once and for all, he certainly should have that surgery.
Well, let's say this. If for the other side of this thing, if he's rested for 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, and comes back and it's improved and it's getting healthier and it's trending the right way, if he's healthy, in theory, you should play, right?
Absolutely. But here's the thing. It goes back. If he doesn't need surgery and it's going to heal on its own, yes, you play when you're healthy. That's what you get paid to do.
That's right.
We're not going to protect a guy who's healthy that's not how you do it. My point is this is where you almost have to take it. If he needs surgery, you got to take it out of Trevor's hands almost, because he is a competitor. I know Trevor. He wants to play. He wants to be out there.
He played through it last year.
He's a tough kid. Yeah. And again, I keep on saying kid because they're so much younger than him. He's a tough dude. He is he's a grinder. He wants to be out there. And this is where it's leadership. And this is where the organization has to come step back, get his team, get the doctor. If you need a second opinion, get your, ownership, GM, everyone. And what is best for the organization? What's the best for Trevor? If he needs surgery and it's going to make him healthy and this isn't going to be a reoccurring injury, then let's do it now, because that's the best thing for the organization based on where we are right now. If it is something that will heal on its own and there's no surgery required, then he goes out there once he's healthy and ready to go.
But if it's the same injury that he didn't have surgery on last year and it happened again, then obviously that would be an issue too going forward.
Well, Tony, we don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying, but that's a doctor's decision. A doctor has to tell us, tell me the prognosis.
And I'm probably not one doctor. He'll probably get multiple opinions.
Absolutely.
And he should.
You've invested $250 million in the most important player in your organization, your starting quarterback.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Jags fans,
yes. I'm not sure I agree with you, Pete. You got to find out what is the prognosis. What's the injury? Pete and I agree 1,000% on. If it is an injury that needs surgery to heal completely, then you do it now. If it is something that will heal by itself, then when he's ready to go, he plays.
But here's the other part of that, Tony. He played through something last year. He played through that last year, and there was some theory that he shouldn't have played through it, and that's part of the reason they went and got Mac Jones, because they didn't like what they had in C.J. Beathard, and so he forced himself back out on the field too soon.
But
there's risk with that too.
There is, Pete. But this is where it's about the leadership of the organization stepping back and making a decision.
The leadership of the organization is the owner, because the other guys might not be here. So
well, I think I said ownership should be involved in this decision. I agree.
They should make the decision in concert with him and his representatives and his family. And the doctors.
Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. Back in a moment, plenty ahead, and then coming up at 5 o'clock, the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour. We'll get your Fanatics fan questions. We'll keep it real, as we always do, and go around the NFL. Plenty ahead. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Black Friday is here, and your local Ford dealer is holiday ready with great offers sure to bring you joy. With new inventory arriving daily, now's the time to take home the legendary Ford F-150, the truck at the top of everyone's list, or Ford Expedition, an SUV with room for all your passengers and presents. And if you're ready for big holiday thrills, unwrap the Built Wild Bronco SUV. Are you holiday ready? The Black Friday sales event ends December 2nd. See your local Ford dealer today.
Imagine beautiful new windows and doors that elevate your space and keep you comfortable year-round. At Renewal by Andersen, we specialize in custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors that are crafted to last. Right now, for a limited time, save 20% off your entire project. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. J.P. Shadrick, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco, Pro Football Hall of Fame left tackle Tony Boselli. Get down to the bank Sunday, December 1st when the Jaguars go head-to-head with the division rival Houston Texans for the My Cause, My Cleats game. Lock in your seats at 904-633-2000 or visit jaguars.com/tickets. There were a couple of positives yesterday, guys.
I can think of one.
There were two, in my opinion, two. The specialists were really good yesterday. The kicker, Cam Little, hit a 59-yarder, tied a franchise long. It was the opening drive, and then the punter was effective.
I'm going to interrupt you. I can't do this.
What?
I can't go back to an era where our favorite player and the guy who performed every week was Josh Scobie. I refuse. I'm not doing it. I'm not Cam Little's great. Great 59-yarder. Congratulations. We lost 52-6. I don't care. Logan Cook.
When you're pumping up special teams.
Logan Cook is a great punter. Guess what?
Right,
I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
Because I've been a part of this organization since 1995, sans 2 years at the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still a Jaguar at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you weren't playing, so.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pete. Thank you.
Thanks
for reminding me.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell a story about that, Pete, because it goes back to Trevor Lawrence. Let me finish this point first. There was a time here where Josh Jacoby was the best player. Well, that's all anyone talked about.
In the 2000s.
Yeah, it was right? Like, I don't want to do that. Nothing. I love Josh. Great guy. Great golfer. Good guy. Fun. Cam Little. I don't know him. Heck of a kicker. Good rookie. Logan Cook. Stud. Maybe one of the best athletes on the team. Can we not talk about that?
The return game's been pretty good, too. So Heath Farwell's done a nice job with that group.
Heath Farwell's a good coach. They're producing. I don't want to talk about that. When we lose 52-6, if they just kicked extra points and they didn't count their touchdowns, they would have beat us.
Correct.
Let's not talk about. That's not a positive to me. Yes, it is a positive in one sense, but I can't. Like, I have PTSD.
So were there any positives?
Listen, Brian Thomas Jr. is a good player.
Travon Walker was actually a decent player on Sunday.
Yeah, there's guys who play hard.
He played hard. He plays hard. He was physically matched up. I mean, that's a tough tackle he's matched up against.
Trevor Walker's a good player.
Yeah, and there were a couple decent plays by Hines-Allen, but
yeah, those are two good football players.
For the most part, those two guys have been playing all year. But that's the problem. They're the only two in a lot of situations.
Pete, I'm going to go
back.
Those
are the 3 first-round picks, by the way. Brian Thomas and the 2 edge guys.
Pete, going back to what you were talking, because you hammered home the point at the end of the last segment that ownership needs to make a decision about Trevor Lawrence, and then
be part of it. Be part of it.
Well, yeah, but have a loud voice.
Correct.
So I thought about this when Pete said I didn't play because he's right at the Texans because my shoulder was trashed, and I remember I was trying to play the first year I was there. I couldn't lift my left arm above my waist, basically. I made them make me a brace where I could have my arm up so I could pass walk. And I tried to practice the first.
You just walk around like this the whole time? It was
a nightmare. And it was so miserable. I was in so much pain. I practiced. I tried. And I'll never forget, I got called into a meeting. It was Don Capers, who's the head coach. It was the team doctor. It was Charlie Casserly, the GM. And the head trainer, Kevin, it doesn't matter, Kevin, and the owner, Bob McNair. We're in this big office room, big conference room, big table, and we're all sitting around there. And I felt like crap, number one, because I'm there to play football. It's a thing I love to do, and my body was just, the surgery wasn't working. And I didn't know what I was walking into. And we sit down, and Bob McNair, who's since passed away, the first thing he says, listen, I want to start with what is best for Tony Boselli and him getting healthy and him being able to play here. That's all I want to know. And ultimately, it was Bob McNair's decision of what steps we took next. Now, much different. I wasn't the franchise quarterback. They hadn't invested $250 million in me or none of that.
What were the steps? What did he tell you to do?
Bob McNair says, we're going to shut him down. Let's go do another surgery. So I had a third surgery trying to repair the damage that had been done.
Wow.
And to rehab it and try to come back and be ready for the offseason, which I went through the offseason, and the shoulder just obviously never came back. I never even got back to 50% strength in it. And so that was it. But I'll never forget that. It was the only, Bob, I'd see him around. Bob, Mr. McNair, I'd see him around. It's very nice. But I got called to the meeting. He was sitting at the head table, and he was making the decision because it was an important decision for the franchise. And this is much
if
bigger.
Trevor needs surgery, they need to do the exact same thing to him.
Yeah, and I think in whatever Shad style, it doesn't have, that was Mr. McNair's style. That's how he did. It's fine.
Yeah.
But the principle's the same. There's certain big decisions for an organization, and this is one of them. He's our franchise quarterback. And I think it's an organizational decision, and obviously the head of this organization is the owner, Shad Khan. And so my guess is he should be in.
Dr. Trevor Lawrence, owner, go into a room, and they have to decide what's best for him.
Well, but I think you should have your trainer in there. You should talk about the rehab.
The trainer.
You should have. I mean, yeah. But my point is, there's certain decisions.
Should the coach and the GM be in there?
That's a Shad Khan decision.
Right. I mean, you knew when you went in, Charlie and
Dom were going to be there. They were going to be there.
Correct. Right.
It was year one.
Right. It was the expansion draft. Right.
Well, that's what I mean. They were going to be there. That's different. And so that's why it's a different scenario. But there's no doubt that Shad Khan should be involved in this decision.
In my guess, Pete, and I don't know this, my guess he is. I just think this is such a big decision. Because Trevor, I guarantee you, knowing him, and I don't know him super well, but I know him well enough, that dude's a competitor. And all you have to do is look what he did last year, was putting himself out there with.
Shouldn't have played in a couple of those games.
And so
Couldn't barely practice.
Right.
What you hear.
That's right.
So that's a big decision coming up. We'll see.
We've got plenty ahead. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll keep it real when we come back. We will get Fanatics fan questions. We'll go around the National Football League. That's all coming up in hour 2. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Black Friday is here, and your local Ford dealer is holiday ready with great offers sure to bring you joy. With new inventory arriving daily, now's the time to take home the legendary Ford F-150, the truck at the top of everyone's list, or Ford Expedition, an SUV with room for all your passengers and presents. And if you're ready for big holiday thrills, unwrap the Built Wild Bronco SUV. Are you holiday ready? The Black Friday sales event ends December 2nd. See your local Ford dealer today.
Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel, proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover unmatched comfort and convenience. Visit SheratonJacksonville.com for exclusive game day special rates and book your stay today. Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Football and Miller Lite, Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes, followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I think you got to be really, really careful when you start pointing fingers at certain people. It's a dangerous thing, and I'm not going to do that. Not doing it. Not right now, because that's, as a head coach in this league, that's going through what we're going through. You're pointing a finger, and if it's going to be pointed, it needs to be pointed at me. Start with me, right? So that's enough on that.
That's head coach Doug Peterson earlier today. It is the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. J.P. Shadrick, Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco. Lions 52, Jaguars 6. The worst loss in Jaguars franchise history on a day that reports swirled pregame of possible changes pending the result of that game. Status quo as of right now, going through Monday. The Lions scored touchdowns on the first 7 possessions and scored on all 8 possessions before the kneel down in their 9th and final possession of the game. And a massive margin of yardage difference, one of the largest in league history. The most yards ever gained by the Lions in 95 seasons, their 91st season in the city of Detroit. The second most allowed by the Jaguars ever, the most in a non-overtime game. And the Jaguars are now guaranteed a losing record this year with their 9th loss, 2-9 overall record. The bye week coming up this week, and then 6 games to go. That about sums it up. Doug Peterson spoke with the media today. The locker room was open as well. And so we move forward into the bye week. And those were the final availabilities of the week, by the way. And the Doug Peterson one today and the locker room today. No locker room tomorrow. So that's where we are.
You know, and I appreciate.
If they close it down for the week, they're done, right? They come in tomorrow and barely do something, then they're done. That's it. He gave them the week off.
That's right. Yep, that's what he said today.
Okay.
Nothing like regroupment after a loss.
I did, Pete. I did appreciate. I like that how Doug handled that. Not like because everyone wants blood. They fire Ryan Nielsen, fire Press Taylor, fire this person. And Doug's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not pointing fingers.
He was asked about firing.
He pointed it at himself, and you got to give him credit for that.
I do. I give him a ton of credit.
Yeah. He could have. I mean, he's laid out people before in an indirect way, and some of his players at times. But he handled this one the right way. I thought he handled it. Said, "Look at me. I'm the head coach. Blame me." So there you go. Blame him. I mean, the message ultimately falls at the foot of the head coach. It always does.
Well, that's how this league works, Pete. You know that.
Of course. And you know, look, when things fall apart to this degree, it's a bunch of reasons. It's the roster, it's the injury to the quarterback, it's the head coach, and who he brought in to be his assistants. I mean, it is all tied together. But, you know, the whole thing with the greatest roster in Jaguars history, I mean, give me a break. That was foolish to say then. Whoever told him that, it was foolish to say. But, you know, because there's been some good teams in the history of this franchise. And believe me, I've been around it since the beginning. There were teams that were a lot better than this on paper going into the season. And that's why when those comments are made and it gets to this point, I mean, that's when you call it the worst season in the history of the franchise. I mean, I thought they would be a playoff team. I didn't think they'd win the division, but I thought they'd be a playoff team. Tony, you thought they'd be a playoff team.
I think what we talked about, Pete, and we can go back. I can't remember it. I thought the ceiling was 11, the floor was 7. And I thought because we talked about it all training camp. They didn't make huge changes.
That's right. Yeah.
From last year. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the free agents, really the only impactful free agent, in my opinion, is Mitch Morris at center.
By the way, Gabe Davis done for the year now.
Yep.
With a meniscus injury.
Yep, unfortunately. But yeah, I thought they would be. What we said on the show as the season started, Pete, if you remember, I thought they'd be playing games in December with a chance to win the division and go to the playoffs. I thought that's who this team was. It's because I thought Houston was good. And I thought going into December, you'd be fighting to, it'd be a neck and neck race to win the division in December. That's what I thought. I was wrong. I did not see us. I did not see us.
And this would actually, if you were any good, this was a year to be good, because the division isn't that good.
No. But
we all thought the division was going to be good, and it's not.
I want to go back to the best team ever comment that Shad made. And just because I'm almost positive he was referring to the best roster since he's been the owner.
Correct, but that's not what he said.
But that's what he meant, I believe. In fairness to Shad, and I don't know who told him that.
Well, whoever told him that it was probably the best roster they've ever had, and he doesn't know.
It's unfair to say Shad was referring back to the team in the 90s or early 2000s. No.
Shad doesn't know.
And so I want to make sure, because he gets a lot of heat for that comment. And I'm not saying I agreed with it. I'm just saying let's put it in the proper context of what I believe he was saying. He's been the owner for 13 years now, I believe. Mm-hmm. And in the 13 years as a owner, he felt like it was, or whoever told him, that it was the best roster that they've had.
And that was a lie.
Pete, I'm not. Even if it was true, I don't like the comment.
Well, I mean, but are they better than the team that went to the championship game? Is it better than that team?
27, not on defense.
Not on defense. No. Not even close.
Not even close.
Those guys were killers.
And the offensive line isn't as good as that offensive line.
No, and the quarterback's better.
Quarterback's better.
Is the running backs? Fournette was pretty good that year.
He was that year, yeah.
The receivers are better on this roster.
But as a whole, that team was better. And that's not counting any of the teams if you want to go back to like the Del Rio teams that went to Pittsburgh and won in the playoffs, those teams were better. And when you go back even further, you go to your teams, they were significantly better. So whoever told him that sold him a bag of goods, because he's not going to make that statement on his own. He's just not. He's not. I've been around Shad enough, and I don't know him well, but I've been around him enough to know that he wouldn't make that statement on his own without somebody telling him that.
Yeah, I have no idea who told him.
And so whoever told him that probably told him that it's the best roster in the history of the franchise, but that person doesn't know because they haven't been around long enough. So to criticize Shad for saying it, should he have said it? No. Should he have said it based on what he's saying something that somebody he trusted told him, and that's why he believed it. And whoever told him that didn't do the coaching staff any favors. So, I mean, think about that. If you're the coach of that team and they come out and they say it's the greatest roster that this franchise has ever had, and you're 2-9, or even when you're 2-4, or whatever they were, that blame clearly goes to you. So, again, I go back. I don't know who told them, but I have an idea.
I have no idea.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, yes, I don't, Pete. I don't. I don't like to speculate. Speculating and assuming gets you in trouble.
Well, I don't think it was his barber who told him that and he went with it. Do you?
Huh?
I don't think Shad's barber told him that and he went with it.
I don't know.
Maybe his boat captain. Did his boat captain tell him, hey, Shad, I've been around football a long time. I know I'm your boat captain, but by the way, this is the greatest roster we've ever had in the history of the franchise.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. Maybe it was, let's see, boat captain, boat mechanic. Maybe he told them. Maybe it was the boat mechanic. Who knows? Maybe it was somebody in the bumper industry. Who knows? But whoever it was, he trusted him. He trusted him. But I guarantee you, none of those people know that. And whoever told him that didn't know what he was saying either. He was only trying to make himself look better. Figure it out.
Anyway,
by the way, Mr. Chubby's food option tonight.
Oh, good.
For our
Maybe
production
he told
staff.
them, but Mr. Chubby's one of the guys at the bar told him.
You never know. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. The chicken parm sandwiches tonight, Pete. Right up your alley.
Oh, lovely.
Pete, how is your diet and weight loss, weight gain during fat ball season? Fat ball season impacting you?
No, nothing. Haven't gained a pound. You?
My scale broke at the house like Not broke. It ran out of batteries.
Tell you to get off?
No.
What in the world?
The batteries ran out. I haven't replaced them in like 10 days. 10 days ago, I was fine. Although I did have a feast in Detroit.
Yeah.
A feast.
Were you with Frangie when you had the feast? Because he put his on Twitter.
I was at the same restaurant, but not eating with Frank.
Oh, you were probably getting sponsored free food again.
Tony. Yeah.
He's a pro at that.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you what. I ate 6,000 calories at dinner.
You probably ate steak and vegetables and good calories.
Oh, there were some bad calories in there too, Pete. There might have been some mashed potatoes and cheesecake and peanut butter cake.
Like if I talk to people, they bump into you, Tony, like in the press box or whatever, and I talk to them after the fact, they go, "Oh my God, they don't even recognize you. How skinny you are."
Yeah, I feel good. It's good. But no, the other thing, Pete, because listen, back in the day, the year the Detroit Lions went 0-16, I was working for Fox on the bottom crew. So you know how many games I did Detroit Lions that year? Quite a few.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And to see that stadium rock the way it is now is remarkable. That place is humming.
Oh, they'll get after it now.
And that city is excited, and it shows you, and this is why this team is so important to this community and to the city. It really changes things when you have a winning team.
Yep.
It changes the community. It changes the excitement and the energy. And you could feel it in Detroit just being around Saturday. People are just excited. I went to breakfast. Got up early, went to breakfast with Mark that morning before the game. And there was a line outside the place we went. Thankfully, he got reservations. But everybody wearing Detroit Lions gear. I mean, just pumped, excited. And so winning matters. It matters for the organization. It matters for the city. Obviously, your fan base. It's a big deal. And you can see it happening right in front of our eyes and what Detroit's done and how they've changed the entire narrative. I mean, Pete, my whole time, sans the Barry Sanders years where they were kind of middle of the road, fighting for wild card spots. Most of my life, the Lions were like the doormat.
They've been bad, yeah.
Most of my life, and I'm a lot older than you, they've been a doormat.
And they've changed it. They've changed the narrative of that place. They've changed the perception.
And the Jaguar fans have cat envy because the Lions have done it in 4 years. They've done exactly what you're supposed to do is flip that organization completely around.
And it can be done here, Pete. It can be done here.
When 8-1 is the best start since 1954, that tells you
unreal.
Like Bobby Lane was the quarterback, Doak Walker was the running back of that team.
It was the curse of Bobby Lane for all those years. Remember, that's what they've over. Unless they win it all, though, the curse of Bobby Lane lives on. This team is capable of winning it all. I just wish they had Hutchinson. If they had Hutchinson, they could win it. I think they'd be they're the favorite now.
Or isn't there a chance he can come back for the playoffs late?
By the Super Bowl, I think.
Got it.
Imagine him running out of the tunnel at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. First game back.
What if it's Detroit and Buffalo in the Super Bowl? Can you imagine the one fan base is finally going to get their misery ended? Think about that.
Plenty ahead. Let's come back. We'll keep it real. We've been faking it for an hour and 15 minutes. Until right now. Or at least a couple minutes from right now. And a little later, Fanatics fan questions. We'll go around the National Football League as well after a Jaguars loss in Detroit. 52-6, the final score in Week 11. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
You love free. And at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
I'll say this, and I told the team this today, and I told it to them after the game, that the team that was out there yesterday, that was not us. That's not who we are. That's not who we stand for. There's enough pride in that locker room, enough pride on the coaching staff to, whether we win the game or not, right? How we performed, it's not who we are. It's not who we are. It's not how I coach. It's not how we prepare during the week. It's not how the players practice and what they put their bodies through.
Head coach Doug Peterson earlier today, and the full press conference at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick with Hall of Famer Tony Boselli and CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. Time for Keeping It Real, presented by Nobody. And we get into the defense today. They gave up over 600 yards of offense yesterday. They entered the game last in the league in total defense, and of course that just got worse. But there have been moments in recent weeks where they've kept this team and this struggling offense at least with an opportunity to be in a game late. However, they're still giving up 400 yards doing it. So they're last in the league or near the bottom in most of the important metrics. Third downs, total defense, pass defense. How do they come back from that kind of effort?
Where are we at time of possession?
Oh, gosh, I bet we're way down there. I'll check it. Anyway,
yeah, just curious.
How do they come back from that kind of effort, especially on defense and results Sunday? Or is this kind of what it's going to be down the stretch? Or is this what to expect moving forward from the defense?
Pete, I'll let you take the first shot.
Well, if you don't get off blocks and you're not physical in the middle, you're not gonna win time of possession. You're not going to be able to rush the passer the way you should be able to rush the passer, and you're going to give up a lot of big plays off of play action. And that's what they do. They give up a ton of big plays. And this defense gets run on. I mean, I tweeted out a picture. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I did.
Of a hole.
I did.
I mean, I could have got on my hands and knees and crawled through there for a yard. I mean, it's incredible. And it was all game long. The interior middle part of that offensive line just got pushed back, and he got bodies on. They got him on double teams back to the linebackers, and the linebackers couldn't get free and make plays. It was awful. And then when they rushed the passer, they didn't do anything up the middle ever, and they haven't all season long. The problem of the defense is right up the middle, all the way up the middle. It starts with those interior defensive linemen. You go to the linebackers who have been inconsistent all year long. Devin Lloyd spins around unknowing where he's going when it comes to pass coverage. That Gibbs wheel route, I think that was on him. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was. And then the safeties. So you go right smack down the middle of the defense all year long, been a disaster.
By the way, Jaguars, yes, 32nd in the league in average possession time on offense. So 25 minutes, 53 seconds. They possess it, so last in the league.
Yeah, and so, yes, the defense kept them in the Minnesota game with the turnovers, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. They scored on defense in the Philly game. But I think we'd all look at those games and say, okay, they hung in there, they fought, but they're still on the field way too much. That's a combination of them not getting off the field and the offense not being able to put any drives together. So it's not all defense in that one.
It's a complementary issue.
It's a complementary issue. For the longest time, they couldn't get any turnovers. I still think we're near the bottom of the league in creating turnovers. Outside the Minnesota game where we had 3.
The Jaguars are now tied for 25th with 8 takeaways.
Yeah, so we're near the bottom quartile of turnovers. And so I think this is a defense that has a problem giving them a ton of big plays. It's been since the beginning. You look at that Miami game, it was big plays that beat them. They have a problem getting off the field on third down. And they have a problem taking the ball away. And so you put all that together.
They're third in the league, worst in the league in yards per completion against, but that's 11.5. That number's terrible. But you know what it's been the last 3 games? 12.9. Think about that. Every completion averages 12.9. I mean, that's just awful.
First down is still 10 yards last I checked, right?
Yeah, and so
that's right.
Is it a schematic issue? Is it Ryan Nielsen, how he's coaching it, how it's designed? Is it a personnel issue? I think you have to ask questions about the defensive tackles and what we've done there. No doubt about it. The safety play has been questionable this year.
Well, one of your defensive tackles is playing end, and he's not playing it well.
Okay. Fair. It's a fair comment.
And most of his pressures that he's gotten this year have come on the inside.
Yes, he's a much better pass rusher. I mean, in my opinion, Eric Armstead should be your nickel 3 technique. Anytime you're a nickel, he should be playing 3 technique.
But couldn't he be a 3 technique in base too?
I wouldn't play at his age, 10 years coming off an injury, Pete. You're playing nickel 60 to 65% of the time. First and second down in base personnel, I would not have him out there, but in any nickel situation, he's out there.
He should be coming off the injury. I mean, this is week 12. We're still worried about last year's injury?
I'm just saying, the way we rotate players, if he's out there 60% of the time, that'd be a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and in hindsight, they got Armstead and didn't get Campbell, and that was a mistake. Because Calais Campbell's been playing good football.
All year.
Calais Campbell.
17 years, and he's still playing good football.
First snap of the season, he's in handcuffs 2 hours earlier. Then he sacks Trevor Lawrence the first play of the season.
Hey Pete, let me give you the top.
He's not tired.
Let me give you the top 5 players in pass rush win rate from the defensive tackle position this year. Number 1, no surprise, Chris Jones.
Right, and he got blocked yesterday, by the way.
Okay, be a good player. Number 2, Zach Allen from Denver.
He's been a steal for them in free agency from the Cardinals.
Number 3, Calais Campbell.
Imagine that.
Number 4, Leonard Williams. And number 5, Puna Ford.
Puna
Ford. Thank you. I was taking a wild guess of I'm going to mess this one up.
He's actually played good for the Chargers this year.
But my point is, I mean, there's.
Okay, and all those guys, let's go through that list again, the 5. it starts with number 1, Chris Jones.
Chris
Is that
Jones.
who you said?
Yes.
Okay, homegrown. Number 2,
Zach Allen.
free agent. Number 3,
Calais Campbell.
free agent. Number 4,
Leonard Williams. Trade.
is traded. Number 5, Poona Ford. Free
Poona
agent.
Ford.
So the only guy that's homegrown is Chris Jones, and they went out and spent money on Eric Armstead, who can't play inside, has to play defensive end, and doesn't do it very well. Bad move.
Why does he have to play defensive end?
Well, they want him to play defensive end.
Well, I mean, because we don't have any other defensive ends on the roster, but
Again, bad moves.
So, as far as back to the keeping it real question is, what do you do on defense? I mean, I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I mean, I think your best bet is to simplify it. Say we're going to let nothing behind us. We're going to come up and tackle.
But they're pretty simple anyways, Tony. They don't blitz and show a bunch of exotic mug looks and everything like that. They don't do any much exotic stuff.
I guess my point is, Pete, we play a lot of man still.
Right, and are they good enough to play man? And the answer to that is no.
I don't think so.
They have the lowest blitz rate in the league.
So maybe you dial up the blitzes and just say but then you're going to play more. Then you're going to play more man on the back end. I mean, I don't. It's a tough.
Well, but they're not dialing up blitzes and they're playing man and they're getting beat anyway.
Well, and the other problem is, so if you're going to play man blitz, I guess, the other problem is because you have been very poor at stopping the run, especially the last handful of games, you don't get a lot of third and longs. So you don't let the pass rush even get going.
You barely had any third and anythings last week.
You literally, of the four drives, the first 7 drives that led to touchdowns, they did not have a third down.
That's amazing.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before. That's third downs.
It's video game stuff, almost.
And one of the third downs they had, one of those drives was 3rd and inches, and they tried to take a shot because they knew they were going to go for it on 4th down on the quarterback sneak.
4.6 per rush the last 3.
Ooh.
I mean, that's just
well. In 2 of those games, they gave up over 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, 4.6 per rush. Well, because and in this past game it was 4.8. I mean, it's awful up front. It's and Walker and Allen play hard. They can play the run well, but they can't. It's hard to rush the passer when you're getting run on like that, and it's hard to rush the passer when everybody knows that you're the two that are going to provide the fast rush, and the interior guys are going to be singled up. Nobody pushes the pocket from the inside, ever. Like, you see McNeil for the Lions, he pushes the pocket from the inside. Yeah, they don't push the pocket, and that's a problem. So what do you do, JP? If you blitz more, you're going to play man more, but you're playing man anyways. The problem in zone, those linebackers get lost in zone. The safeties get lost in zone. They play it poorly. And so that's a problem too. So you may as well just go play man. You take him, and go after the quarterback. But to do that, like Tony said, you got to stop the run to do that.
So that is Keeping It Real, presented by Nobody. We'll come back with Fanatics fan questions. Plenty of those on X today. Wow. The ats are on fire today.
I don't think we can read most of them, though.
Probably not. We'll get some of them when we come back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a Zip chair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to zipchair.com and save 20% today. Use code JAGSRadio at checkout. Zipchair.com, furniture for fans.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Imagine beautiful new windows and doors that elevate your space and keep you comfortable year-round. At Renewal by Andersen, we specialize in custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors that are crafted to last. Right now, for a limited time, save 20% off your entire project. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
Black Friday is here, and your local Ford dealer is holiday ready with great offers sure to bring you joy. With new inventory arriving daily, now's the time to take home the legendary Ford F-150, the truck at the top of everyone's list, or Ford Expedition, an SUV with room for all your passengers and presents. And if you're ready for big holiday thrills, unwrap the Built Wild Bronco SUV. Are you holiday ready? The Black Friday sales event ends December 2nd. See your local Ford dealer today.
Don't believe they're letting go of the rope. I don't. It is a good football team. They are good, and they're going to play for a long time. I think this year. You know, I mean that's just without question in the NFC. I look at it, and even visiting with guys today and seeing the guys today, you know, they're tired. It's been. You know, each week, each Monday, you know, we haven't felt very good. And that also weighs on you. You're going into the next week.
Head coach Doug Peterson earlier today. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. The second hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings after a 52-6 loss to the Detroit Lions. Worst loss in franchise history. J.P. Shadrick, Hall of Famer Tony Boselli, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. And time now for our favorite segment each and every week. The Fanatics Fan Questions. Jaguars fans gear up at Fanatics.com with all the latest Jag style. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. We put the cat signal out on X earlier. Here's the best we've come up with today. At Levi Kahn, hey Tony, what's your positive spin this week?
Don't have any. Got no positive spin after 52-6. Sorry. I can't help you on that one. It's a bye week.
You got to give us. There you go.
It's a bye week.
Got to be something from Captain Sunshine over here.
Bye week. Week off. I don't know.
Sun came up today.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with your week? With your time off this weekend, fellas?
I am going to Gainesville on Saturday. It's senior day for my daughter Alexis, who's the captain of the cheerleading, all-girls cheerleading team.
Cool.
Nice. Oh, nice.
So I'm going to do that Saturday, and then I'm going to sit. I might probably go to church, maybe play a little golf Sunday, maybe I'll watch a lot of football, do nothing.
Yeah. I'm going to make a run to see some family back home, I think, for a little bit before the holidays. Yeah.
You're going home?
Yeah. That'd be nice.
All right.
Pete, you don't get a bye week.
No, hell no. Just keep on grinding.
Grind mode.
Keep on grinding. Hey, look. We're rounding the corner, right?
Pete, where do you watch the games on Sunday?
In the studio. We have a TV thing set up in there.
Can any of us
Yeah, I want to kind of go watch it.
Could I come? Could I come this Sunday? If I came down Saturday night, hang out with you in the CBS studio watching football all day?
You know, it's weird, Tony. I would have said yes, you can come in there, but ever since COVID, the process to get somebody to come in is like trying to clear Secret Service type. It's weird. So the answer to that question would probably be maybe.
Well, I mean, don't worry, don't do it because I'm not coming down there.
Yeah,
I was just curious more than anything.
In theory, yeah.
But yeah, it's we have a whole nice setup in there. We watch the games and rip everybody to shreds, and you get mad at me because the Jaguars game has to be on the TV closest to me, and so I can rip it apart before I watch the tape the next day.
All right, next
and
question.
Believe me, I was ripping on Sunday.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You weren't the only
I called
one.
that one though. I can't say anything. I called that one. I saw it coming.
You didn't see 52-6. Stop.
I saw. Let me see what the score was. I picked when I picked it.
Yeah. Tell me the score. Let's be honest now.
It was. I'll be honest with you because you can go look it up. It wasn't that, but it was bad. Believe me. Here we go. It was. And by the way, we played the play yesterday on our pregame show. The kneel down.
I saw it on the X.
Thanks. That's great, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played it. Don Mikowski taking the knee. I forgot he went in.
I didn't.
Huh?
What did you pick yesterday,
Pete? I spanned the ball the next play. Go up the field with Vaughn Dunbar, I think it was, on the very next play. You actually got a good block on that play, Tony.
Thank you very much, Pete.
You were still trying, unlike some of the other people on that team.
Attaboy, Tony.
I'll tell you what, I hated those
games. 38-10.
38-10. Yeah. Pete, I hated, I was, as every player's been involved in blowouts and been on the wrong side of a blowout. It is the worst because the game's over. You know it's over. It's the end of third quarter. You're down 4 scores. You're not. I mean, come on. It is what it is. And everything in you wants just to get in the locker room and go home or get on the plane and get home. But I always told myself, this is going to be on tape. And so you better compete because whoever is watching the tape next week from the other teams, I did not want to have them watch me get beat. So to me, it became personal. It's okay. I'm one-on-one with this guy. Here we go. Let's dial it up. You better get and I'd have to talk to myself. I'd be on the sideline talking to myself. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But by the way, Doug's right. You know me, Tony. I look for quitters. I didn't see it on the tape yesterday, which is more. I think that's even a worse indictment of the roster, if anything, because you got beat that bad and you didn't quit. Woo! Because there was, I always look for joggers and guys that are going to not play to the end of the whistle. And there were plenty of them on tape earlier in the season. I saw them, particularly in London.
Yes.
But I thought they'd quit against the Eagles. They didn't in that game. They played hard against the Vikings, and they didn't quit on Sunday. They're just not good enough.
Not good enough against the Lions, that's for sure. At UCF Jaguar, next question, generational quarterback, Super Bowl winning head coach, state-of-the-art practice facility, top draft picks, money spent like crazy in free agency. How do we fix this?
I'm going to let Pete answer this one.
Well, okay, let's start with the generational quarterback. Right now, he's not a generational quarterback because they haven't brought him to that level yet. So that goes to your coaching. Your Super Bowl winning coach hasn't done his part to fulfill that. The state-of-the-art practice facility, that you can't argue with. It is. It's a great place. It's a great facility. In the past, it was a joke where Tony, you were in that, there were rats everywhere in that place. It wasn't a good facility. It's a great facility now. Free agents should want to play there. Players should want to play there. It's a great facility. What was the other? What would keep that question up for a second? There's more to it. I'll keep going.
Top draft picks, money spent like crazy in free agency.
They've blown them. I mean, let's be real. They haven't got bang for their buck on the draft picks, and money spent like crazy in free agency hasn't worked out. Let's go through it again because Mitch Morse hasn't been good the last month of the season. He's been okay. He hasn't been great. Ronald Darby had one good game and has about 4 bad ones in the last 5 weeks. Who else? Armstead's a complete. But Gabe Davis, before he got hurt, was a nothing. He's a nothing burger. I mean, he looks like he's out of shape and doesn't run very well. So free agency, bang for the buck, bang for the buck. You got nothing. You got zero. Then you can just go through the roster of guys. Doesn't it pain them that they used a second-round draft pick on a tight end that they don't even use in some games? And they not only that, when they drafted a second-round tight end, the guy they let go caught a couple passes against him for the Vikings last week, didn't he?
Josh Oliver.
I mean, that's all around the league. So if you really want to pinpoint it, it's the talent. It's the talent. They're not that talented, period.
Next question at Waco Arena. Which players would you keep to rebuild this? And what would be your draft and free agency priorities? Now, all right, we're kind of flirting with the line of draft talk here. Not officially eliminated yet, mathematically. However, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll just answer. You got to build the line of scrimmage.
Yes,
I mean, you got to build both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's how you win football games. At the end of the day, this is a physical, violent game played by big, physical men. And yes, you need dynamic receivers and backs, and obviously you have to have a quarterback, and I believe we have a quarterback. But if you have a quarterback and you are physical at the lines of scrimmage, you have a chance every week. If you have a quarterback and really fancy, nice, skilled position guys, and you aren't a physical, tough team, you're just not going to win consistently in this league. I have a strong conviction about that.
I'm with you.
And if you really want to look at it, going to next year, you have no one under contract who can play at left tackle.
Oh, you got the right tackle who could play at left tackle.
Okay, right now starting.
Current left tackles.
You have no one's under contract for next year.
Mm-hmm.
You have your left guard who you signed, who Ezra Cleveland's a tough guy.
But earlier the year it was awful yesterday.
Okay. You have an 11.
He's coming off injury. I think he got
banged up yesterday.
And then he was. You know why? He was pulling, and Brandon Sheriff got knocked back into him, and he tripped him. That's how he got hurt again.
So you have an 11-year center. You'll have an 11-year.
Maybe he doesn't play again.
I don't know, but 11 years, long time. You have an 11-year right guard who is beat to. I mean, I give him credit for fighting.
But he's not coming back on his money. He's not coming back.
And you have a right tackle who is not as good as he was his rookie year, but he's under contract. Behind that,
he wasn't bad on Sunday. But
no, I'm not saying. But behind that, you have nothing.
Zero. Because
the only young player that you were excited about, Cooper Hodges, had a major injury, and you don't know what the status is going to be.
Correct.
I mean, you don't. And so
Luke Fortner's still under contract.
And then flip it to the other side, Tony.
But do you disagree with my evaluation of the offensive line?
100%. Your 100% assessment is accurate. Then you flip it to the other side. Okay, you have a defensive tackle in Hamilton who clearly hasn't been the same player since that stuff happened to him. It was tragic what happened to him, but he hasn't been the same player. The rookies, the second round pick doesn't even suit up.
And was he a healthy scratch, or is he still hurt? Because I can't.
He kind of keep fudging that a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of been off or on.
Was he on the injury report last week? Let's just look at that.
Hang on, I'll look at
it. I think late in the week they put him on.
Anyway, I'll find it.
Okay, but if he's a healthy scratch, it's even worse. He's been a healthy scratch at times this season.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Jefferson gets blocked. Ledbetter's just a rotational guy. That's all he is. And so where do you see starters on NFL teams in that four that play in there? There isn't one.
By the way, Mason Smith ankle limited all week in practice.
Okay, so he was on the injury report this week.
Yes.
And going back to so I think for me it's you got to invest in both lines of scrimmage, because you have big decisions. Are you gonna pay Walker Little to be your left tackle? And what do you have to pay?
Okay.
He's gonna be a free agent.
Would you pay Walker Little? Would you go pay Garrett Bowles?
That's what you got to evaluate the whole thing, Pete. I don't know today. I haven't even got that far ahead. But if you look at the backup,
Bowles is an unrestricted free agent. So
how many guys? Which you're gonna have to pay a bunch of money for it to go get him. Like even an average left tackle is going to get paid 18, 19, 50, let's say somewhere between 15 to 20 million. Right, Pete? Is that about right?
Right. And guards are getting more money now. Guards get a lot of money now.
And so you have to draft and develop guys.
Wow.
And so how many starters do you have that are young players that are backups right now on this roster on the offensive line? No. I thought Cooper Hodges was going to be one, but you don't know his status.
You don't know, and you don't know if he was going to be.
But you thought he could be.
Right.
Foster, the left tackle, I did not think he had a good camp. Maybe he can be developed. I don't know. But it did.
He didn't look like it. He didn't look like it.
Van Lanen has been a career backup swing guy. Do you project him as a starter? The bottom line is you can't go into every year without big people on your roster that you're developing. That is
what
critical.
If the worst case scenario happens that Morse did decide to walk away and Sheriff isn't coming? Sheriff can't come back, and he's broken down and the money's too much. He can't come back. So that's
So to go down your path, Pete, let's just talk about that real quick. If both Mitch Morse and Sheriff were retired because of age, I'm not saying they are. We have no idea. Right. But they're 11-year guys, and and Sheriff has been beat up this year.
And a lot of years.
You now coming back, you have a right tackle and a left guard. What I've seen out of Fortner, he's not a starting caliber center, from what I've seen.
He's not. Not from what you're seeing. He isn't.
So, okay.
All right.
So you have two starting caliber offensive linemen on your roster
who are average at best.
I still think that Anton Harrison can be a really good player.
Right, but as of right now, he's average at best.
He's an average. The way he's playing this year, you would say he's middle of the road.
And he actually said that today. He spoke with the media. I asked him, "Hey, what do you want to prove personally the last 6 weeks of this season? I mean, big year for you coming." He's like, "I've just been up and down, inconsistent all year, and I want to be better and build up to the rest of the season."
I like that. That's a great answer. Yeah. It's a great answer.
Could he be the left tackle? Could he be the left tackle?
Yes, he is athletic enough to play left tackle. He played it in college. I think he's a much better. He needs to improve on his run blocking. He needs to be pushed.
He doesn't finish like he should.
That's why he has to be pushed.
So yeah, there's major issues on that offensive line, and whoever does take over has to make that a priority. Has to be. I want to put something out there real quick. The Bill Belichick stuff that Mike Florio threw out there.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is 72 years old. He's coming back, where if he does come back, to try and get Don Shula's record. Is he going to have the patience for a rebuild? Because that's basically what you're going to be jumping into in Jacksonville. And will Jacksonville want a guy who's 72 years old? And here's the other part of that. Bill Belichick always had control. You can't give that guy control. The reason the Patriots stink now is because he had control, not because he couldn't coach. It's because of his football decisions. So why that was put out there, I got my idea about it, but why that was put out there, that's ridiculous. And I know Tony Khan has a strong affinity for Bill Belichick, and he loves everything he's done, and I get it. Bill Belichick's been the greatest coach maybe we've ever seen. But you can't do that in this franchise. The coach that comes in and takes over has to be an offensive-minded coach who can build the damn thing around Trevor Lawrence.
Let's come back. That's it for Fanatics Fan Questions. We'll go around the National Football League in what has been a long day after a long day. 52-6, the final yesterday in Week 11. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel, proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover unmatched comfort and convenience. Visit SheratonJacksonville.com for exclusive game day special rates and book your stay today.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA to not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and DC 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings from the Hyundai Studios. And for 11 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all the available inventory and go Jags. Let's go around the National Football League and Sunday action. The Packers blocked a field goal to beat the Bears 20-19, the final score. Packers in that tough division, of course, the NFC North. Dolphins over the Raiders 34-19. Rams beat the Patriots. The Saints over the Browns 35-14. All-around play from Taysom Hill, Pete. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the gimmick was actually really good on Sunday. By the way, they got the bump from the special teams coach, right? Darren Rizzi, 2-0.
And in that division, Pete, they're in it.
Well, yeah, because Atlanta stinks and Tampa Bay's all banged up.
Yep.
It's incredible. They probably won't catch them. I think the Bucs' schedule is favorable. I think they'll catch Atlanta. Atlanta has a tougher schedule.
Colts over the Jets 28-27. Anthony Richardson back in there now.
And you know what? He looked good, and he looked much more confident. And here's the thing. Reports out of Indy were that he wasn't the first guy in and last guy out, so they sat him down. Guess what he was last week? First guy in, last guy out. You're 22 years old. And Denny Thompson works with him, so I'm sure Denny Thompson told him, you got to put your whole head into that stuff. You know that, Tony. Guys, you only have a short window. Take advantage of it. Put all the work you possibly can into it. Cash the big bucks, and then you can do all the sleeping and relaxing and playing video games you want to after you're retired.
Indy has a big game next week. They got to go play the Detroit Lions.
Oh.
In Indy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at home.
Either way, I don't care where it's played. Steelers over the Ravens 18-16. Steelers now 8-2, Pete. Can they sustain it?
And you know what? They're playing physical, tough football because Russell Wilson was awful on Sunday against the Ravens defense that can't stop anybody, and they still won the game. Physical, tough football. Didn't score a touchdown. He threw an end zone interception that was horrific.
Vikings over the Titans 23-13. Broncos put up 38 on the Falcons, 38-6 to final score. Bo Nix, huh?
He's playing well, but Sean Payton can flat out coach. I mean, he schemes open guys for that quarterback and does a great job of it. And their defense is good. That team's going to be a playoff team.
Is that a guarantee?
Guaranteed. Look at their schedule.
Wow.
Favorable.
Seahawks over the 49ers 20-17. The Bills beat the Chiefs. The final unbeaten team goes down 30-21 yesterday afternoon.
Josh Allen has made himself maybe the co-favorite right now for the MVP.
But the big question with Bill, I mean, the big question with Josh Allen and the Bills, Pete, can they beat the Chiefs when it matters in the playoffs?
Well, ideally, you'd like to have it at home when that comes, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost to him last year, but remember the end of that game, he had the shot into the end zone, but Chris Jones hit him, and remember it fluttered. The guy was wide open, would have scored a touchdown, and then Bass missed the field goal that would have tied it.
But that was in Buffalo last year.
Right, that's what I mean. But they still could have won that game.
But my point, they haven't beat them when it matters.
Well, you know why? Because right now they're Barkley and Stockton and Malone to Jordan. That's what they are.
Yeah,
you got to change
I think
that.
that's a great analogy,
Yes,
Pete.
it is. Chargers had a 24-6 lead at halftime. The Bengals came all the way back, tied the game, and then Evan McPherson missed 2 field goals. And the Chargers go down the field and win, 34-27.
That was a great – I'm usually so tired. But we got home and, I probably caught 2.5 quarters of that game, the whole second half. What a great football game. It was a great and entertaining football game.
But isn't it funny, though, Tony, how Joe Burrow and Herbert navigate muddy pockets the way they do to make plays?
I'll say I think Burrow's better than Herbert doing it.
Burrow's better at Herbert at it, but Herbert was good at it again early in that game last night. And again, the offensive line play is better in those two teams than what you have here in Jacksonville. But Burrow does a great job of handling it when it's not, like you said. And that's something that Trevor has to get better at.
He does. Now, it does help having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase outside.
It certainly doesn't hurt.
But I'll say this. Burrow's not afraid to throw it to anybody. Whatever that Ivy League kid's name is, the decathlete or what?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but he was...
Yosevich.
How do you say it?
Yosevich.
He came up with some big catches.
And he'll throw to the tight end.
Gesicki
too.
Yeah. Burrow's...
Look, here's the thing about the Bengals. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, and everybody in the AFC should be happy they don't. You don't want to play that team.
Well, they're 4-7. What's their schedule look like, Pete? They've already played the Ravens twice, so they got that out of the way.
Yeah, they got the Steelers coming up in a couple weeks, I think. But yeah, it would be tough for them to make the playoffs.
They're gonna have to go on a big run.
Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers.
Yeah, they could. They could go on a run.
Never know.
They could win. They could go on a 1996 Jaguars run. And get in.
4-7, baby.
Could.
And nobody will want to play. Nobody will want to play them.
No.
I'm telling you.
Monday Night Football. It's the Battle of Texas. C.J. Stroud and the 6-4 Houston Texans, first place in the AFC South, head to Arlington to face the 3-6 Dallas Cowboys. The roof is open so God can watch the Cowboys play. They need all the help they can get. Who you got at Jerry's World tonight?
Not the Cowboys. They're a disaster. They can't run the ball. They have no quarterback.
Can't stop the run.
They can't stop the run. I got the Texans.
But you know what? I think they hang around in the game. The Texans don't look right. They can't really. They're averaging 4.3 per rush themselves on the ground. Not great, and they don't stop the run. And they have a bunch of injuries. It'll be interesting to see if the corners Lassiter and Stingley are both banged up. Might not play, but we'll see. I think they hang around in the game. I haven't liked what I've seen from the Texans at all this year.
What happens in Dallas ultimately, Pete?
New coach, definitely. I think that's happening. But again, if you're going to be the head coach there, you want to have Jerry Jones as your general manager. But you are the coach of the Cowboys.
Let's say it's about 10 million reasons why per year, probably at that point.
10 million? You're a little light. Maybe more than that.
More, you think? There you have it. Monday Night Football's in. Bye week. Here we are. We've arrived. Week 12.
What are we going to talk about next week is the big question.
You know what we're going to talk about next week? We're going to start looking at the draft next week.
Oh, no, they're not going to be mathematically eliminated, Pete.
They're mathematically eliminated in my mind. They're gone.
In your mind.
Okay,
You have a
what's
different
it
kind
take
of
for them to be
calculus.
mathematically eliminated? One more loss?
I don't know. I think it's more than that.
No, I think at 2-10 you're out. You're not getting into the playoffs with 10 losses.
Mathematically.
What's their schedule coming up? It's the Texans, then what?
They got the Texans, they have the Titans twice, and they got the Colts and the Jets and the Raiders.
Yes, Texans, Titans, Jets, Raiders, Titans, Colts.
I mean, on a normal team, you'd say, oh, they could win those games.
They
But
might.
there's nothing about this team that would give you any indication they could win any of them.
That's Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli. I'm J.P. Shadrick. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver, Manny Alvarez, Penzon, Kate Waskey, Brooke Hopfee, Bill Pease, our entire crew. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.